Welcome to Instablog's Global Report. This is Sukhmani with fresh updates and more citizen voices from all over the world. Stories for the day are: Israel's Prime Minister Ehud Olmert resigns. Violent clashes erupt between Philippines Army and MILF in southern Philippines. Heavy pollution raises health risks in Brazilian city of Sao Paulo. And illegal logging destroying the Sundarbans. Israel's Prime Minister Ehud Olmert has officially resigned. Mr. Olmert's authority was damaged by a shaky coalition and criticism over the 2006 war with Hezbollah. Recently, the Israeli police too had recommended that the Prime Minister be charged with corruption. CJ Jesse Edwards reflects upon the insulting and disgraceful departure of Prime Minister Ehud Olmert.
This is Jesse Edwards, citizen journalist from Israel, reporting on Instablogs. It is all too late for Ehud Olmert. Finally, his past has pursued him like a shadow and caught up with him. We saw a caricature in one of the newspapers today. Olmert is still at his desk, standing, and Tzipi Livni is at the door, and he says to her, "I'll just collect the last envelopes and I'll be out of here." Who would want to be Prime Minister if that is the way it ends? Sad, very insulting, and disgraceful. Olmert leaves behind a dejected national mood, lack of faith in leadership, unfinished and unraveling agreements, missed opportunities, revulsion at corruption, fear of violence, crumbling government institutions, a bruised army, an undermined court, and great anxiety over the future. For the first time, people are asking about tomorrow, and they do not have a clear answer. The successors we concede do not inspire faith and confidence. They seem frantic and self-absorbed. What will come tomorrow for Israel? We may not know that answer.
Violent clashes have erupted once again between army soldiers and Moro Islamic Liberation Front group in Maguindanao in southern Philippines. Fighting began after radical Islamists burned down homes to punish the residents believed to be supporting the army. CJ Grace Calderon expresses disgust over the senseless violence that has gripped the southern Philippines.
This is Grace Calderon, citizen journalist for Instablogs from the Philippines. Muslim radical Islamists burned down 16 homes and buildings in Maguindanao in southern Philippines to punish residents believed to be supporting the military. Residents fled several houses, a health clinic, daycare center, and a building of a government agency advocating peace and development were destroyed after the arson attacks last Sunday by the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, or MILF. Fighting continues between the MILF and government forces after last month's suspension of Malaysian-brokered peace talks. There is now a deadlock between the Philippine government and the rebels over a proposed expansion of an existing Muslim autonomous region. Nearly 200 soldiers, rebels, and civilians have been killed in sporadic clashes in Maguindanao and nearby provinces since last month.
Sao Paulo spent a day without car in an attempt to provide residents to use public transport because they may be victims of their own vehicles. The fleet of cars in Sao Paulo has 8.5 million in a city that has 10 million inhabitants. The situation is so bad that the transportation in Sao Paulo has become a public health issue. CJ Celso has more on how heavy pollution is added to the health risk for the residents of the city.
This is Celso, citizen journalist reporting from Brazil for Instablogs. An estimated 12 people die daily due to the pollution caused by cars in São Paulo. That surpasses the number of deaths caused by smoking and violence. Expenses related to health, both public and private, are increasing to offset the pulmonary and respiratory diseases directly caused by pollution. During the winter season of short rains, those are crowded with thousands of patients, especially children, mostly affected either from respiratory problems or from eye irritation. The public transport should be developed more, as nobody likes to burn expensive fuel and wait in the traffic. And maybe people will also realize that a day without a car is also possible and far more beautiful than the routine honking bumper-to-bumper traffic. Till there is individualistic mentality, the situation will only continue worsening.
Sundarbans, one of the largest mangrove forests in the world, is becoming a prey to illegal logging. The loss of forest area will not only affect the sensitive ecosystem, cycling both terrestrial and aquatic life, but also cause heavy flooding and droughts. CJ Amira Khanum protests against the widespread corruption and bribery that is actively assisting the destruction of the Sundarbans.
This is Amira Khanum, citizen journalist for Instablogs from Bangladesh. Bangladesh is face to face with yet another serious problem that has put environment at risk. Rampant corruption in Bangladesh, the forest department has proved too destructive for the Sundarban forests that are becoming prey to illegal logging worth millions of dollars a year. Corruption is everywhere in the government machinery, and bribery is the most evident threatening the future of our forests. It now puts biodiversity at stake as the appointment process for top-level jobs and forest is even done through an auction system in which the person who paid the biggest price gets the job. With this widespread corruption, Bangladesh is losing huge area of its forest each year. Particularly, it has led to severe climate conditions, and Bangladesh is forced to pay heavy prices as they constantly face heavy floods and droughts at times when the flood crisis are tormenting Bangladesh and the world as a whole.
If you want your voice to be heard by millions, let Instablogs be your choice. You can contact us at cj@instablogs.com. That's all for today's show. We'll be back with fresh updates and more citizen voices. Till then, it's goodbye from the entire team of Global Report.